Hey y'all, Brandon Rinas here. Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. So I want to talk about this last week. I think we're going to start doing videos once a week, and we're just going to talk about the different progresses I'm making, and I'm going to try to make it more of a typical topic, so that way it's something that when you're going through this yourself, you can go through the different topics, or Brandon Rinas, and you can type in struggles or what's your why or whatever it will be as time progresses. And you'll be able to look up the different videos that I have. And so the whole point of these videos is just to be as honest as I possibly can and to build you up, bring you, the encouragement that you need when it comes to having success. So first of all, let's start with what I've been doing. My goal is to immerse myself. Now I went all in, and I've said this before in my last video. I went all in, and I'm not going to stop until I have success. But it takes a while before you start believing that, and I'm now at the point where I believe that. But it doesn't come overnight, and so how do you get that? How do you get to the point where it's like, okay, I believe I'm going to become successful. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I think a lot of that has to do with your why. Part of it's your why, and part of it is you. Each person is so different. For me, I had to immerse myself with different people that talk about how to become successful, different books that are talking about how to become successful, listening to YouTube videos and things of that kind. So I surrounded myself listening to as many hours of Robert Kiyosaki as I possibly could find. And then as you progress, if you're constantly trying to learn new things and you're trying to find new people to listen to, you'll run into more people. This week, my recent person that I ran into is Tai Lopez. And so I've spent probably 6 to 15 hours listening to different videos of his, trying to hear all the different perspectives he has. And Tai Lopez, he's a gentleman that he reads a book a day. And so he has different book reviews on all these different books. And just the wisdom you can gain from a 30-minute video on a book review is huge. He'll give you new ideas. He'll give you fresh perspective. He'll give you more passion. He'll give you, okay, that's a struggle with me. And so it will help you get to the point where if you're listening to enough of that stuff, you start to believe it. Instead of it being this in the back of your mind thing or a possibility or a hesitant, it becomes, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be that way. But to me, it has to be more than just emotion. See, those are the emotional things. I'm not a very emotional person in general. Like, I'm passionate. I come across that way sometimes in my video. When I have a conversation with somebody, I'm very focused. But I don't like feely good things unless there's logic behind it. I don't care. Okay, cool, it makes you feel good that you helped that person. Well, what was the logic of helping that person? You just helped them stay, a bum the rest of their life because you gave them more money to keep doing the same thing, or whatever it would be. I'm very, very logical. So for me, you have to combine that feel good with logic, okay? And the logic is your why. I don't know your situation. I don't know who you are. I don't know how bad things are. I don't know what you've been through, and I don't care. I am not the worst person that is on here. I am not the worst person that is who started at the bottom and worked my way up. My low is not as low as some people. I was listening to a person in church today. Had a sickness that was making him worse every single year. Every single time he'd see the doctor, it would get worse. He had drugs and medicine that he couldn't afford. He had a wife that was leaving him. He had a son that was a heroin addict, and he was losing his job because he couldn't afford everything, and he couldn't spend the time at the job that he needed. And he was getting ready to jump off a bridge. That person's had it a lot worse than I have. I've been hit by 3 drunk drivers. I've had bad experiences with cops that I didn't deserve. Okay, cool. I am nearly bankrupt right now, even though I shouldn't even say that. Like, we're so much better now this week than I was last week that we're not going bankrupt. That's all there's to it. But I have been very, very low. Shoot, a couple weeks ago, we were $1,500 in the hole every month, okay? Which isn't much, but when you have a little bit of money, that's a lot. Actually, I guess you don't have any money if you got that much money going out. So that's my perspective. My perspective isn't as bad as the gentleman I was talking about. But we all have our different stories. And the question becomes you. It really comes down to you. What are you willing to do to get out of your situation? Are you going to end up in the same boat over and over and over again? Because I don't know about you, but I've been broke a few times. And I always end up in the same boat. And And my next option was, okay, I could live below my means, super tight with my money, and I could go on vacation once a year, and I could survive. And that's an option. I've got a brother like that who has a lot of money, who is comfortable. He's got probably $200,000-$300,000 in the bank. He's young. He has no bills. He has no debt. He's in great shape. But he still can't go do what he wants. He still can't go travel the world. He has to run his business or else he goes bankrupt. He has to run his business or else he has no money coming in. And then all of a sudden you watch that $200,000 shrink really fast. I mean, look at all the people who make millions and millions of dollars in the lottery and disappear. They didn't have a why. They didn't have a reason. They didn't have logic behind what they were going to do with that money. And so it's a lifestyle problem. But you can't fix that lifestyle until you have a why. And so for me, it came down to, I recognized I had a problem. And I think this whole journey is, and I apologize, I'm hopscotching all over the place, but that's how my brain is working, because I'm still learning everything. It's all new, it's all fresh. But as I was learning, as I'm going through this whole process of becoming more and more successful, trying to learn, trying to grow, I figured out, okay, what's my why? Why do I keep ending up in these positions? And the reality is because I'm not educated. Okay, so I realize I'm not educated, so I start educating myself. Now, in order to pursue that research that I've been doing, all that education that I'm doing, what is going to stop me from just becoming a little bit successful and then quitting? Or ending up in the same boat again where 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road, I start having success and I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to start spending money again more than I'm making. Or I'm going to end up in a bad financial spot. Or I'm going to make a bad investment. And for me, it came down to, I just had to look at myself and ask myself, I take pride in living life to the fullest. Can I live life to the fullest the way I'm living it? And the answer is no. Maybe for you, you can't if you only make $50,000 or $100,000 a year. But the answer for me is absolutely 100% no. I want to be able to help people financially. I want to be able to help them with my time. And I want to be able to travel the world and do what I want to do. My adrenaline sports, my jumping out of airplanes. I want to be able to say, that looks like fun. I'm going to go do it. Anytime I want, without going, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. And for me, that is a huge lifestyle change. That's a huge financial burden I have to cover. So what do I have to do to get there? Because am I going to be living my life to the fullest if I can do that one time a year? And don't get me wrong, I'll enjoy it. But is that living life to the fullest? And for me, that is a no. I want freedom. And so what I did and what I have done is I've put different things on my list of all the different things I want. And I believe I mentioned in my last video, massage is the number one thing. I want to be able to get a massage whenever I want. I want to be able to go to Hawaii whenever I want. I want to be able to go to Hawaii for 2 weeks doing whatever I want as long as I want and be able to come home and go, I don't have to worry about bills. I can go on another vacation if I want. That's what I want. That's for me. And so that's my why. Your why is going to be different, and that's okay. My wife's why. She wants to be able to be a midwife and go help people all around the world. She wants us to be able to travel the world, because I want to travel the world and try new things, see the 7 wonders, do insane things. And she wants to be able to help people, being a midwife all around the world. Well, we both need to be able to have so much money that we can do separate things and afford it. So that's my why. When I wake up, I look at my why. I have it written down on my wall, my why. But you get through all of that, and you start working hard through that, and you have success, and you start getting motivated, and it's awesome. That's what I've been doing. But one of the things I did to start making my motivation, to start pushing myself, was to get up 2 hours earlier. Instead of starting at 7:30 in the morning, I get up at 5:30 in the morning. And I get up at 5:30 and for 2 hours I study. Or I post this video and then I study on the stock market. Or I'll do whatever it is. And I spend those 2 hours focusing on how to become a better person, focusing on how to make more money, focusing on how it is that I'm going to become successful. And what happened was I started making progress and I started getting a lot of the things done. And then I would go to bed and I'd wake up and I wouldn't want to get up in the morning. And I wouldn't get up and I would justify it because I had gotten most of everything I needed done throughout the day. But then as the day progressed, I'd be working, I'd get up at my 7:30, I'd go work, and then I realized, man, I could have had this done in the morning. Man, I could have had that done in the morning. But I'd forget about it by the time I was going to bed again, had the same problem again. So I started having a laziness issue. Part of it was laziness, but part of it was I was honestly justifying it because I truly, and I wasn't making things up. I'm very, very honest with myself. I couldn't think of anything I could be doing at 5:30 in the morning for 2 hours. So I'd think about it, I'd wake up for a couple minutes and be like, I don't need to trade stock because I only trade one at a time because I can't afford to be too spread out. So I'm like, okay, I got a trade going. There's nothing I can do to change that. I'm researched on that. I can't think of anything. Boom. And I roll over and go back to sleep for 2 hours. And so what I had to do is you have to be honest with yourself. At first, I was sincere. I was like, oh, this is totally fine because I'm being honest. I can't think of anything. But as the days would move on, I was like, this is becoming a trend. I need to find a way to fix this. And I'm not going to wake up for no reason. So I started writing things down or remembering things on what I could do or what I should be doing the next morning when I got up. So that way, as soon as I woke up, bam, okay, I know I got a ... boom, these 3 things. While I got my 2 hours, I'm going to go to town. And I think as I'm doing this, I think most importantly, I think the most powerful thing is that when you go to bed with those things on your mind is pondering those things and working those things over and dealing with it as you're sleeping. So you'll wake up, let's say you have a business idea in your mind and you're like, okay, hey, I got to do research on my surfboard company or whatever it is. So you go, your surfboard stuff is going through your head. You might be dreaming about it. Your mind's pondering it. You're thinking about pros and cons. Subconsciously, you're just sleeping. And you'll wake up with a new idea or fresh on that logic and you roll out of bed and your mind's already been working on that. And so for me, that's been the biggest change. It's not so much just the fact that I'm getting out of bed now again at the time I want. It's I'm getting out of bed with my mind already working on it, with me going, oh shoot, I got to get after this. So my goal is to point out that we have to be honest with ourselves. We can't fix problems unless we can be honest with ourselves. We can justify anything we want. I could have justified that, and I'm not trying to build myself up to be some superhero. If I was doing that, I probably wouldn't have made the mistake in the first place. But we have to work on ourselves to get out of our flaws, our major issues, or whatever they would be, even our minor issues. We have to look at ourselves critically and go, okay, am I being lazy, or is there a time for this? For example, my next video next week, I'm sure is going to involve laziness or when is the time to take a break and when is the time to actually work too hard, because you can exhaust yourself pushing yourself too hard. And so, but that it all comes down to being honest with yourself. If we can't be honest with ourselves, if we can't look in the mirror and say, man, am I really working as hard as I should be? Am I truly studying as hard as I should be? Do I really want this as bad as I am saying I am? And then you look at your why, and then you look at what you need to do. And you ask yourself, if you can't answer that honestly with yourself, you shouldn't even bother doing this, because you got to fix yourself first before you can focus on fixing the rest of the problems. It all starts with us. It all starts with us and our minds. The mind is one of the most powerful things in the world. Put it in charge of controlling your own destiny. If you guys want more videos like this, please hit subscribe, then smash the notification button. If you guys like this, give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. If you dislike it, give me a thumbs down, but more importantly, tell me why. I want to promote dialogue. I want to promote debate. I want to actually be having healthy conversations about what we should be doing, about how we can be getting out of debt, about how we can be fixing things, about what I'm doing wrong, or whatever it would be. I want this to help everyone. I'll try to get better at responding to people. Life has been super busy, especially this last week, but I will try to get better at responding. Thank you so much, guys. I wish you nothing but the best. Kick some butt out there. Let's go conquer the world. Peace out.